You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Alright, so you're wondering, how do I listen to you guys live? How do I check it out? Well, good news, we stream every Wednesday, 9 p.m. over on Twitch. Nerddux, N-E-R-D-D-U-X, or Nerd to Know Media on YouTube or Twitch. That's how you're going to be able to catch us. Hope to see you in the live chat.
Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is Sparta! All your days are belong to us. It's a trap 9000! Stop collecting all of us. Leave Benny alone! Leroy Dragon! Objection! The balls are inert. It's time to
Limousine sedan.
And now it begins.
Alright guys, and we're live here on Twitch, YouTube, and all the other places which you can check us out. So thank you very much for joining us in. This is Nerd to Know Basis, show 64. 64 shows, congratulations, that's crazy. We're really getting up there now. We're going to do something special for our 100 shows. So this week we're not going to take a break from The Simpsons. Because, you know, although I was surprised you guys wanted to talk about The Simpsons. Like, Katie, you even watched like a full season where you weren't supposed to watch.
I know, yeah, because normally either when we do the reviews, I don't get a chance to like finish the whole season, so I'll watch as much as I can, but other, you know, life and stuff gets in the way. And this week I was like, I will be so good, I will watch the whole season, it's going to be great. Well, I did skip the monorail episode, but only because I can almost recite that one from memory at this point. Like, I've seen it so many times. But
that's that. Is there a chance the track would bend?
Not in your life, my Hindu friend.
But like, I literally
sent here by the devil.
No, because I'm on the level.
The ring came off my pudding can.
Well, use my pen knife, my good man. But like, I watched the whole season, you know, minus the monorail. I watched the whole season, and then I wasn't paying attention because it was just kind of, you know, I was watching it at night before bed and stuff, and it went like maybe 3 or 4 episodes into season 5, and I was like, I'm doing so good. When is this season over? How many episodes do I have left? And I was like, wait, hang on a minute, I'm on season 5 now.
Oh, and that began with the Cape Fear one, wasn't it?
I think Cape Fear is like episode 3.
With the rakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is the best one there of the whole series anyway. So
that is my top. Like, a Sideshow Bob episode is always a good thing anyway, but that's like my top Sideshow Bob moment.
I'm going to break the fourth wall. Dara, I'm coming in on another device. Could you let me in, please?
You're in. That's it. He's in there twice. And
We've got 2 keys.
And it's funny, he's breaking the fourth wall, but it's literally facing a wall, so maybe that is the fourth
and
wall.
You become a painting. This is
transcendent. Fair play.
It's a key in within a key in.
But yeah, like, so we're going to take a break from The Simpsons this week. Next week we'll go back to Simpsons when Bryn is here, because he is currently, it's his birthday, so he's off watching movies. Didn't want to spend it with us, so boo Keen. No, boo Bryn.
Happy birthday, Bryn.
Not boo Keen. Boo Bryn.
Or maybe not.
Definitely boo Bryn. Maybe boo Keen.
Yeah, maybe boo Keen. Yeah.
I'm back. Thank you.
Welcome back. Yeah, so this week we decided to take a bit of a change in format, and I think the Simpsons reviews are going to be bi-weekly, so we don't get through all of them, and also so we can kind of break them a bit. This week we said we wanted to talk about live action remakes.
Oh no!
Oh God!
I have a bad feeling about this.
We'll see.
So many opinions.
Whiteboard of anger here.
So many opinions. Well, look. Well, see, look, right. I just want to say off the bat, it's unfair to judge all of them harshly. Right.
Oh no, some of them are great.
Can we just judge the majority of them harshly?
Well, what I want to say is, like, where do we draw the line on this? Because I was having a think, and I'm like, is adaptation the same as a live action remake, or would it be, it was an anime and then it became anything? Like, where do you want to draw the line? Because that's something I could see some people kind of getting into, like saying, "Oh, well, technically this is a live action remake." So where do we
like Death Note isn't strictly a remake, like that kind of thing? Like,
well, I would more say, Death Note, I would say even more the Marvel movies, for example. They're technically live action remakes of the animated series, technically live action remakes of comics. So would we include those? I think that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, like
for argument's sake,
some of them would follow specific plot lines that were laid in the comics, arcs that were in the comics, but like a lot of them are just kind of so reshuffled and restripped that like they're nearly indistinguishable from the actual comics they're based on.
Well,
that's a fair point. Like,
in some cases, some of them are nearly.
In fairness, though, like a comic book series can be any number of issues, and say you've got a story arc that's 50 comic books, you're not going to fit that into an hour and a half or 2 hours, so you would have to restructure it.
Yeah,
like Captain America: Civil War is only a bare bones make of the thing it's named after,
100%. Like, it's completely different. It's in every conceivable way. But I just wanted to mark that off straight away, because that's one thing when I was thinking about the topic. I'm like, well, are we going to include this? It's unfair to not include it, but it's good that we knocked it off. So for this, it's mainly going to be, it existed as a thing and was remade pretty much from the ground up as very, very similar to the thing. We're going to include video games in this as well, right? Like video games.
No. Is there like an eject button on this?
So, okay, I know Lisa has a list.
See, mine are adaptations, things that existed, then had movies made out of them.
That's fair.
So, like, I'd have, like, a lot of anime or manga or a lot of, like, kind of nerd books and nerddoms and stuff that then got movies made out of them, and some of them are great, some of them are awful.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was coming from, rather than, like, here is a movie, and they remade the movie, so I think mine might be a bit different.
Question then, if we're including manga, can we also include comic books for argument's sake?
I would almost say graphic novels for that case.
Graphic novels, yeah.
And I think that's where I was kind of getting at, where the source material exists and it's very, very close to it, but something happened and was lost. So it all kind of works in that sense. So who has the more opinions? Who wants to lead this about?
I won't lead, but I just want to say sorry, Kev, you go first.
No, actually, you go first, because I want to start with just something a little controversial.
Okay, well then I'm just going to say I have thought about this for a few days. I'm going to fly the flag for mixed to poor adaptations of children's books. Like, on the good end, let me stick it. On the bad end, I have a lot to say about the Darren Shan movie, but I'm going to need some time before we get into that. So Kev, you take it.
I like the Death Note adaptation on Netflix.
I agree.
No. No. Wrong.
Okay, definition?
Wrong.
It's not a good movie.
I will say one thing in its favour, and only one thing in its favour. Willem Dafoe.
Fair.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think when it got, like, I watched it and I was like, this is a bad movie, but I'm still really enjoying watching it. And it was when I kind of was like, oh, it's just a Final Destination movie.
Yeah.
And then it turned out like, oh no, this isn't like the psychological back and forth that I watched 50 episodes of. It's a Final Destination movie. It is an absolute just kind of a just gore montage. I'm like, oh, this is great. Again, poor acting, poor writing, poor characters. Just a fun movie, though.
Excuse you, Willem Dafoe was mocap.
Willem Dafoe is great, but like the actual, but like most of the cast.
Oh yeah, no, the rest of it, no. I couldn't even watch all of it.
Well, Kev, you have someone who supports you. Monster Mutt in the chat, Monster Mutt 93 in the chat says, I agree with Kev. It's good as its own standalone thing if you forget about source material.
But
that is a big ask, though, and I say that somebody likes it.
But it is such a kind of a different reinterpretation of its source material, it's easy to kind of separate it.
Yeah. Okay, well, look, I'll give you that. And I I didn't hate it. I think if it was kind of not coming after one of the best anime series, well, particularly the first series of all time, it would be an easier kind of thing to swallow than what it was. William Dafoe does save it because he is so spooky that it just seems like he's born to play that role, if not born to play the Joker or something like that. But yeah, okay, I can see your point. And it's
what I can say in its favor is I saw the Death Note film before I read the manga and saw the anime, and it made me want to see more. And that is not a compliment you can give to a lot of other live adaptations.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I definitely think like the problem kind of more lies in its marketing of itself as an adaptation of it, which it kind of isn't. It's what if it's a more of a kind of a what if. What if the Death Note was thrown in the middle of like South California as opposed to the middle of Tokyo?
Which I think would have been a better approach. I think
it's less about it's less about the actual plot of the movie. It's more about how it presents itself.
Yeah, like if that had, and I think they probably should have named the characters differently and went a different direction with it instead of being. Yeah, it's actually, now that you say it, it's very much similar to what happened with a movie, Nightbreed. I don't know if you guys ever seen Nightbreed.
No,
Nightbreed is a Clive Barker movie that was marketed as a slasher film. And it's not. It's kind of like a dark fairy tale that has slasher moments in it, and it was marketed in that sense that it bombed epically, but has a cult following now, a couple of years down the line, and yeah, and I think that's kind of what happened there. But okay, controversial way to start things off there, Kevin. I would say on my side, and a live action remake that I really like is Mortal Kombat from the 90s.
Oh, like the 90s one? Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, I think the whole Mortal Kombat franchise, even the TV show isn't great, but it's not bad either. I think it's one of the best comic video game movies ever made. It's a lot of fun. It captures
wait, I remember this. There's Adam's Family guy in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, Raul Julia.
No, sorry. Mortal Kombat. That's the one with the bald guy?
Raul Julia's in Street Fighter, which is on the other spectrum, on the other side of this scale. Sorry, no, Mortal Kombat.
Oh, I know, Mortal Kombat 2. That's the one with Mother. You're alive. Too bad you will die.
Yes, that's the sequel to it.
Thank you. Okay.
Let's not talk about the sequel, but Mortal Kombat 1 has Christopher Lambert in it. Has a great cast, very accurate actually, to be honest with you, with the source material. Has a really cool Shang Tsung who was in Sabrina. They mentioned Sabrina. They mentioned this where Sabrina learns karate.
Vaguely?
Yeah. She learns karate and she ends up fighting him, and the trophy ends up talking. It's like cheater.
Well, now hang on a minute. Which Sabrina are we talking about? The good one or the one on Netflix?
I like.
You're going to wind up Dara with that.
I like the one on Netflix, but we're talking about the comedy one. The comedy one in this case in the 90s.
We're all going to be in group therapy after this with all the controversy.
Last episode of the podcast.
Yeah, there's not only a genuine a live action remake of Mortal Kombat the movie, but there's a TV show and a series with the same cast in different stages. But yeah, look, video game movies get a lot of hate. I think if you're going to watch one, Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat, is the best place to start and has a banging soundtrack.
Tunes.
Absolute tunes for days. For absolute days.
Yeah.
And not just the famous Mortal Kombat one that we all know, but like loads of them are that one. But all the tracks are just class. So, and the fight scenes are amazing. Johnny Cage even does a friendship in one. After he kills Scorpion and then he does an autograph and shows it to him. And it's like, this is just fantastic. It's brilliant. I swear to God, like, it's really good. And anyone who says there's been no good video game movies before Detective Pikachu or Sonic, watch Mortal Kombat. So, seriously, that's my take.
Can I throw in an extra one there? Another good video game adaptation. We start off on a positive note.
Go for it.
I love the Ace Attorney movie.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's actually really decent.
The live action version of the first 4 cases, and they get the humor of it perfectly. Like, it's the best ad for the series ever, because they somehow translate it into live action, and all the humor of animation still works. They still get that a parrot on the stand. I don't know how they did it, but it's excellent.
Is this Japanese live action one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've seen bits of it knocking around, but I've never actually seen it.
It's actually a pretty good watch. They take 3 of the first 4 cases and put it into a one streamlined plot, and they have no shame. They do the wigs and everything, and they do all the physical humor, and it's just a really compelling watch. It's absolutely very, very funny. And
I think a lot of problem with these is they don't capture the spirit of the material. We talked, and that's the thing, as kind of hokey and 90s as the Mortal Kombat movie is, it still captures that kind of spirit of it.
Yeah.
And some of the remakes that we're going to be talking about, remakes or adaptations that we're going to be talking about, lose the actual spirit of it. When I was in college, we had a module called adaptation, and this was what's lost in adaptation, and it was all about adapting. Sorry, not to get too into it, but in the 19th century, that's when they kind of started writing out Latin text into English, and they were trying to figure out how to do it. So there's 2 ways. There's proper adaptation where you kind of take the bits out of it, and then there's summation where you kind of take the general beats of it and make it up. And that's kind of what some do, and that fails because the best way to do it is being as close as you can. But in some cases, I would say it's kind of good to make your own thing out of it, which is what we talked about with the MCU, where they take the overall feel of it and recontextualize it into something a bit more palatable. But 9 times out of 10, if you're taking a story from an anime or something like that, it's better to kind of stick with it. So another kind of...
Funnily enough, actually, just because you wrote to comment on your point there, there's a really good documentary on superhero film adaptations on Amazon Prime, and one of the points they made was that about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man was that until that film came along, producers were looking at comics and going, what can we change to make this into a movie?
Yeah.
And the Spider-Man film was the first one to go, what can we change about filmmaking to make this a Spider-Man story? Yeah. And I think that is a really crucial point on how these adaptations live or die.
Yeah, I would say that's a very succinct point, really, to really kind of sum up how it's been done. And I don't think we've got there yet with anything really Japanesey. Detective Pikachu and Sonic have changed that now, where they've kind of changed the game.
Yeah.
And I think they've opened up the doors and been like, you know what, we can make this really, really feel like it's source material without sacrificing story. So let's just say,
yeah.
While we're on the subject of video game adaptations that obviously got lost in translation, can we address one of my favorite ones, which is probably the elephant in the room, but it's so bad that it's good?
Go on.
Super Mario Brothers.
Have you actually seen that?
It's one of my
Bob
favorites.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
Yeah.
I was actually going to bring that up and say, before you jumped in, I was going to say, or else you end up with something like Super Mario Brothers. So you have to tell me how, why. That's weird. I've never seen anyone stick up for it. Go on.
Well, because when I first saw it, I was a kid.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's
so
fair.
To me, it was just oh wow, Super Mario Brothers is a movie now, and because I hadn't played a lot of I played the games as a kid. You get the controller that you plug into your TV and it's got all the Mario games on it.
Yeah.
But to me, they never I never followed a cohesive story other than go to the castle. Oh no, she's not in the castle.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't they've ruined the story of Super Mario. It was kind of
no story to ruin.
It's its own kind of thing, really.
Basically.
Plus the fact that you've got Yoshi is a velociraptor.
Well, well, for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, the plot basically is Koopa Kingdom basically is evolved dinosaurs who basically followed our evolution instead of monkeys following that evolution. And that's
it's kind of like dystopian Metropolis where everyone's dressed
it looks like
very
Blade
gothic.
Runner.
Yeah.
Trash Blade Runner.
That's what it feels like, trash Blade Runner. In the chat there, Super Mario Brothers is the most wonderful thing that I don't understand how it happened. There's a great series. There's a great series actually, if you guys haven't seen it, called Good Bad Flicks, and it kind of goes through the process of it. I'll link it in the description of this video, and it goes through the whole production of Super Mario Brothers and why what happened, basically. So look for that in the description.
I bet that's a
To be fair, though, Super Mario has kind of always had a, like, because has anybody seen the really weird kind of late 80s, very early 90s anime of Super Mario?
Yeah, I have.
Like, that is, like, psychedelic. I think when it comes to Mario, I don't think you're ever going to get anything that isn't completely, like, mind trippy. Like, it's everything to do with Mario is psychedelic. I think it's because there's no actual kind of plot, per se, in the game. When you take it, that's it, because it's like two, like, Italian dudes in like a Japanese kingdom in dungarees. They may or may not be plumbers. There's all these freaky ass creatures that can be interpreted as either like monsters, mutations, fantasy, anything. You know what I mean? Like, I just think there's so much
giant
kind of
mushrooms.
Scope. Yeah, basically.
They can hit
like, are they all
sun.
just tripping it? Yeah, like,
I've seen like
they're never.
I've seen snippets of like I've seen snippets of like an old Super Mario manga that was around. That was like a slapstick comedy.
Well, apparently,
That's
guys,
weird.
There's also a half live action, half animated Super Mario series that's full of sexual innuendos.
I haven't
seen this. I haven't seen this.
I have seen bits of that.
That's wild. That's wild. But look, what I will say is, I agree. Like, the Super Mario universe is very hard to nail down because of that. To be fair, they could have just eaten loads of mushrooms and got high. It could be all just the innuendo for that. But
they could be like someone's bathroom, like fixing the plumbing, high on mushrooms, like, oh, I'm in this magical kingdom, and they're just really like in some dude's apartment, like fixing a pipe.
Well, see, I think that's what the movie was kind of going for, right? Where they're kind of ground it and then they fall in. It could have just been like, yeah, they just did a bunch of bad drugs. But compared to Sonic, right, which has a story, Sonic's adaptation through actually just great video on that. I will try find it. I think it's Midnight Edge. I'm not too sure.
Yes, I saw that.
Was it Midnight Edge?
And I know I'm always saying them, but the Irish YouTuber who does the Simpsons videos,
Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Yes,
Super Eye Patch Wolf.
He did a great video.
They've both done very good breakdowns of Sonic recently.
We keep hammering on about him because he's that good.
He is that good.
Well, we need to have him on.
Come on our podcast, please.
Have us.
But
Wolf, hear us.
Notice us, senpai.
That was one I watched and it was fantastic. But what I will say is, like, I grew up with Sonic. I actually grew up watching these shows. So I remember being 4 or 5, and there was 2 Sonic TV shows on. There was the really, really dark one, which was amazing.
Yes, I remember that.
And it had the best theme song ever. I had a really cool theme song. And then there was one that was more kind of cartoony. And 4-year-old
Urkel.
That was the Urkel Sonic. Yeah.
But 4-year-old me didn't understand why some of the show was like really dark, and then it was a hard cut to the rest of the show being all happy. I'm like, are these the same show? I realized that they weren't.
The correct answer is no.
Yeah, well, it didn't help that they were on back to back. So that really didn't help things.
Does anyone remember the Sonic comic book?
I do. I never read it, but it's like the longest series ever, right? It's like of like that kind of thing. It only did recently.
That got really dark at points as well.
Yikes.
Yeah, I think I remember reading one where Tails ended up going into this underground mushroom kingdom, and it was kind of like, hey, we like you and you're cool, but you can never leave.
Oh.
It was just like, whoa!
Tails joins a cult.
Now.
Oh, yeah, but like, that's a series that had, and I know, like, even in the games and stuff, it got very, very weird and bizarre. So it kind of like, Sonic was one of those things where constant adaptation worked against it, but also we came back around where we had the Sonic movie, and even before that with the latest game, Sonic, Mania, which is fantastic. So it's like, I would say that working through this kind of birth pains almost of this transformative media is good sometimes, but it just takes a little bit of pushing and patience. I don't think we have patience.
Let's also acknowledge the fact that they had to fix the human teeth to make the movie watchable.
To be fair, if that whole movie had been with human teeth, I don't think I would have been able to watch it, because that's just spooky.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Terrifying. It's like, why does he have human teeth? This is not okay. It's not okay.
The fact that like the hands were it was white hands, not gloves.
Yeah, it was just like, man,
weird.
It's not okay. It's like with cats when you had to, like, they rendered like proper buttholes on all the cats and they took them out. It's like, why did
the movie I need to see behind the scenes?
Why did you do this?
I need to know how that movie happened.
I feel sorry.
Have you seen Lindsay Ellis's thing on it yet?
I haven't. Yeah. I will though.
Oh, it's great. It's a trip.
And that's another thing. That's another adaptation that we had where it was like a musical and became a movie, and you had to keep patching the movie, or as we say in like IT, hot fixing. You have to hot fix the thing as it's going forward because it's held together. But imagine,
well, that's because it was so rushed to get to the cinema.
Well, here's the thing, Katie. Imagine being that poor artist who had to sit there and animate Taylor Swift's cat butthole.
Just paint on buttholes all day.
Well, I won't dwell on cats for too long, but it was completely avoidable. The problem is that the director, and even though I love The King's Speech, the director wanted them in mocap suits that they were free to move around in, so they had to be like animated in real time. Which, have you ever tried to animate something in real time? I can't imagine doing that.
It's a terrible strain on the animator's wrist.
Yeah. And then they get thrown under the bus. Like, I honestly feel bad for them. Like,
it's just, and you know, as Mutsum says in the chat, someone had CGI butthole renderer on their CV. Probably.
Yeah. I'm gonna say no one's putting cats on their CV.
Show me a portfolio of your work, and it's just, yep, there it is.
No, Keith, you're wrong. Tom Hooper's putting cats on his CV.
Except, you know,
above Les Mis.
Les Mis is unfortunate. I was really upset watching Les Mis, and not for the reason that you're supposed to be. I was more like, what is this movie? Why is it killing Les Mis? Controversial.
I did not know you were a musical head, Dara.
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
Les Mis is unfortunate because it tries to stick too closely to the to the adaptation of the. For like in a few ways, but it doesn't format itself well to being a movie.
Well, look, well, hold on that point, right? That works sometimes. Like for example, I really like the Phantom of the Opera movie for some reason.
Oh, it's fantastic.
But it shouldn't be. I don't know why I like it. Like I've seen the stage show, and
have you heard him sing?
It's it's terrible.
This is the point of no return.
No, that was the movie that made me fall in love with Jared Butler, and I've never seen him better in anything else.
Have you seen 300? 300 is amazing.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right, 300. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
But like watching that movie, I was just like, okay, and then you see the stage show, and you're like. Stage show is amazing, one of the best movies of all time. And then you will go back and watch the movie, like, I still really like this movie. Why do I like this movie?
Enjoy, and I feel bad for picking on Jared Butler because the actual Phantom song, he does sing decently. It's just there's those points where it breaks out. It's like, oh no, you're not a singer.
But this is one of those weird things.
He was in a band in college. That's how he got the part.
Really?
Well, same with the Crow, though, in Les Mis, though. He was in a band, but it doesn't necessarily translate to musical singing.
Well, here's one for you. Munster Mud says that that movie is fantastic, and she actually prefers the soundtrack to the original because the voices are stronger.
That's brave.
But it's a weird thing because The Phantom of the Opera wasn't even a musical to begin with. Like, it was a book by Gaston.
Yeah, that's fair.
Then it was the Universal movie from the 20s with Lon Chaney Sr.
Which is painful.
That's so
weird because it's like
adaptations where it eventually hit up, like it hits so many adaptations.
It's like we're talking about whether or not
this musical version became the definitive original.
That's kind of it, because it's like we're talking about adaptations of an adaptation, and it's like that's how it's kind of come along, because it's not even a musical to begin with. So now it's kind of evolved from a book to a movie to a musical, and then the musical was like the pinnacle. So now everything's kind of branching off from that.
Now like the fence is just been pushed further.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
It's weird, but it's like I suppose that kind of happens. Whatever reaches that, it's like, you know, cover song. I suppose when someone covers a song, it actually ends up being the definitive. Kev, you know this with Metallica. I think the Metallica covers becomes the definitive version of that song.
Yeah. We'll call it 50% of the time.
Yeah.
So the one that always shocked me was when I found out that Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower was a cover.
Bob Dylan.
Yes.
Bob Dylan, man.
That shook me. And I went back and listened to the Dylan cover, and I was like, oh, it's really good, but like,
it's not
Hendrix.
To be honest, I feel like, you know, even Bob Dylan will be surprised to find out that Jimi Hendrix didn't do it.
But to be fair, it's the same with Adele when she did Make You Feel My Love. Everybody in the world thought that was Adele, but it's actually Bob Dylan again. So
everyone gets one Bob Dylan song, and that's it.
Basically,
Go for it,
Natalie Imbruglia, Torn.
Yeah, it was originally a dude.
Is a cover.
Is it?
No, it was a woman, but it was a band. Yeah.
No way.
Cover version.
No way. That's weird. But I suppose that's what we're kind of looking at with some ways, you know, like, and this is what I was trying to get at. The hatred of adaptations sometimes is fully justified, and the fun part is coming up now in the next half an hour. But sometimes it's okay to kind of be like, you know what? It's not so bad. Oh my god, 1985 by Bowling for Soup's a cover? I did not know that. That's changed my world. Yeah,
whoever was in the chat there, thank you for Dara's existential crisis.
I did not know that. I know he did a cover. I know he did a cover of Stacey's Mom, which is actually better than Fountain of Wayne's. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So that's I can't believe that. If that's true, that's blown my mind.
Hold on. Who did the original?
I don't know. Someone Google it. Let us know. That's insane. Wow. Okay, I lost my thread here now.
Another weird one for you. What
so
you were saying about Metallica being the definitive. So you know the way like Metallica did Whiskey in the Jar, and that's like usually everybody's favorite version of Whiskey in the Jar.
Yeah.
But can you see we're covering Whiskey in the Jar?
Oh, yeah. It's an old trad.
It's an old trad song.
So it's a whole,
It's a whole
again,
thing.
It's like the Phantom of the Opera where there's a thing, then it becomes another thing, then that thing gets covered or adapted, and then that becomes like the definitive cycle.
Okay, apparently 1985 was an SR-71 song?
Yep.
God damn it.
That upsets me. You know, like you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe.
On this podcast when I have to listen to that now.
Don't be upset. It's still a great song.
It is a great song, and I wouldn't mind the cover of their cousins of Stacey Mom. Their cover of Stacey Mom is actually phenomenal, and it's just like, oh, sorry, okay, never mind. Right, I'm upset now.
It may have been a tough idea. I think our conception of reality is just going to be melting as this goes on.
It's just been shattered. Right, so it's okay. You don't have to be sorry for what you've done. Thank you for the education. I was not aware. Okay, so here's where the fun begins. Lisa, please give us some of the terrible adaptations.
Pages of notes.
Yeah. Okay,
oh my God,
so like
the whole room is shaking.
I've kind of narrowed it down now. I've tried to be fair. I did include remakes or adaptations that were actually better than the original. For example, I don't know how many of you guys would be into J-horror or Japanese horror movies or anything.
Yeah.
But Water.
We did a panel on it, Lisa.
Oh yeah. That's literally how I met you guys.
Exactly.
That in no way escalated quickly. So Dark Water and Ring, like the famous Ring movies with Sadako and all that, they were actually both originally. Well, Ringu was a novel by Koji Suzuki, and Dark Water was a short story by Koji Suzuki in a book of an anthology of the same name, all about like horror themed nautical stories. So everything in that book, Dark Water by Koji Suzuki, was just based like horror at sea or water was involved in some way. And I actually think Ring and Dark Water are two examples of where the movie like far surpasses the original content. A bit like Detective Pikachu. I think Detective Pikachu the movie was 1,000 times better than the game. Like,
the game was very bad.
Yeah,
game was very bad.
He knows my anger. That game.
If I can side note quickly, if you want a terrible, like a really great terrible movie, the sequel to The American Ring is awful in the best ways.
Oh no!
Which sequel?
The original sequel, Ring 2. That's what it's called. Yeah.
This, I think it only came out like 4 or 5 years ago.
That's Rings. That's Rings.
Rings. So basically, this is where I was going with this. So
call it something else. Like it's just confusing. Let's call it something else.
Oh my God!
That turns into a problem because it's like Aliens. What do you call Rings 2 or Ring 3? Like.
Ring 2, Ring harder.
It's like Ring
Too Ring, too furious.
I did not mean to derail this. I'm sorry.
Ring 3, Tokyo Drift. That's what I want.
Return of the Ring.
Son of Ring.
You know what? Listen, if this came out in the 90s, there would be Son of Ring, and then there'd be the Bride of Ring, and it'd just keep going all the way through, like Chucky. Sorry, go on.
Godzilla versus Ring, right?
Yeah. Yeah, fun fact, Ring was written by Bob Dylan. Yeah. It's a cover version.
Actually, on that point, not on that point, but on that point Lisa was saying, I do think while the adaptation was weak, it was super important and transformative in such a way. Like the first, it's like the Grudge. The first Grudge is actually quite good, and I think it kind of got like worse and worse as it went forward. Like that's the case.
The Grudge is the Grudge is a continuous so there was 2 Grudge movies originally made by Takashi Shimizu.
Yeah.
Then they were so good. They're really low budget kind of college efforts. They were so good. They then both got remade into the original movie that people refer to as the original Japanese Grudge. And that had a sequel. And then, so you've got 4 Ring movies, and then Sam Raimi picks it up. And he takes stuff from the first 4 Grudge movies, which are, by this point, we've already had Grudge 1 and Grudge 2 remade to the original Japanese Grudge 1, Grudge 2. And then you've got Sam Raimi coming along, and he takes factors from all 4 of the original Japanese Grudge movies, makes them into 3 Grudge movies, and then there's like about 7 Grudge movies in total then made after the original 4 Grudge movies. And then America comes along last year and goes, yeah, let's just remake it really badly. And not do anything.
That story had an anticlimax of an ending.
Yeah.
But what I will say on that, that's very kind of par of the course for this kind of stuff. Because, right, even to Sam Raimi, right, Evil Dead 1 was kind of reimagined into Evil Dead 2 and then kind of became its own thing.
Yeah.
But to go with the Japanese kind of side of things, the Power Rangers that we would know, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, aren't a thing. They're Super Sentai series that were picked up randomly in the middle of their run and just
it is a
spliced
teen drama to a J action series.
Exactly. That at that point was like 8 or 9 years old. So this seems like in that case it was the most genius use of editing ever.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic idea to be like, you know what? Let's take bits of this. And there's fun comparisons on YouTube where later on, like particularly in the second season of Power Rangers, they run out of bits and all the Japanese stuff is spliced from 2 different series at the same time. And in my head now, as to going back, I'm like, this explains so much about why that show is so weird and why it was great. Because stuff would happen and you're like, that makes no sense. And then you're like, oh no, now it makes way more sense.
So it's going to be like the editing of the Radioactive Man movie without Milhouse.
Yeah.
It's worse. It's worse. There's bits where it's just like, you know, because White Ranger isn't in parts of it. And they're not talking to him, and the only time he's in it is in the American, where, you know, the American bits of it. But throughout the whole rest of the show, he's just not there. And then he shows up, and you're like, okay, we must have caught up with the rest of the footage. But, so, you know, first time I found that out, that was a revelation for me, that was what was going on. So I suppose it is one of those kind of things.
On Lisa's point, though, have you guys all seen the American Godzilla? Which is kind of similar in the way that it's sort of a remake of all of the 1990s one.
Yeah.
Where it's like a remake of all the other Godzillas, except also not at all. Like that kind of thing.
Is it this is the Roland Emmerich one, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, is this the one with Ferris Bueller?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember...
there it is. Santopoulos, or whatever his name was.
I remember going to see this as a kid, and I loved it, and I still have a soft spot for it.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I like it, and also
got Hank Azaria and Lisa Kudrow.
and Lisa Simpson, who's also in it.
And Bart. Oh no, wait, not Bart.
Lisa Simpson.
The other one who isn't any of the Simpsons.
Nancy Cartwright.
Hank Azaria.
Yeah, it's got like half of the Simpsons in it.
I think Nancy Cartwright might be in it somewhere too.
She is.
It has Leon in it.
It does have Leon in it. Yeah, he plays the French.
Leon.
So this was the Godzilla that Japan hated so much that they wouldn't even acknowledge that he was Godzilla.
No, he's called Zilla.
He's called Zilla, and they actually responded by making a movie called Godzilla versus Zilla.
And he throws him in.
Godzilla absolutely just destroys him.
He throws him into the Sydney the Sydney Opera House and fires his nuclear breath at him. That's how much they hate it.
Yeah, they hated it. They would not acknowledge that he was Godzilla. No. And even when they came out with the other one a few years ago, the Bryan Cranston one, they went, apparently the people the Bryan Cranston one, apparently
bad one.
Apparently the creator said it's better, but it's still not Godzilla.
Oh no, the Bryan Cranston one was way worse than the Nick Totopoulos one from the 90s.
I disagree. I quite liked the Bryan Cranston one actually.
But this is why. So in the Bryan Cranston one, this is why they had the Mutos instead of Mothra or all of the other guys, because the guys who owned the rights to Godzilla wouldn't give them the rights to any of the other monsters because they just hated it so much.
That explains that, because I thought the Mutos were crap, and I'm like, bring back Mothra.
Well, here's one. So Monster Mud says that's one brilliant way to denounce the movie and throw shade at it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I actually really like this. Wasn't a big fan of the first Godzilla movie, the Bryan Cranston one. But the sequel's great.
The sequel with Charles Dance is amazing, and it's got like the Hydra, it's got Mothra, it's got like Ken Watanabe
it's got everything
fusing with Godzilla, like it is like nuclear underworld thing. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. It's pure B movie, but like on a really big budget.
It's the best B movie I've ever seen. I've
mixed feelings in the second one. I remember, Dara, you reviewed it on the first podcast I ever did on this channel.
Oh wow, we come full circle.
If you're in it for the monster cheese, the second one's much better. But like the first two movies in that series, Skull Island, are vaguely tracking realism, and it just throws that out. So I can see why people maybe didn't respond to it well.
Which actually, Kong Skull Island is a really interesting case study as far as adaptation goes.
Yeah.
When you kind of track Kong back.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because like Kong Skull Island's a real. Like, just when you like kind of go back to like the original 20s King Kong, and kind of track how they readapted. A lot of the time it was just kind of trying to do the same thing, but with just little different bits. And now you have Skull Island just going way off the script as far as what like people know as a Kong movie, and being like, no, we're throwing it. It's an analogy for the Vietnam War now. I'm like.
Well, that's true, and it isn't, though, because King Kong was originally drawing from a lot of the, what is it called, Doc Savage type material for its kind of jungle stuff. So it's kind of going back to its roots, just not the roots of King Kong. It's just going back to the roots that inspired King Kong.
Yeah, and I think that's because it's still kind of like the ones that work, the reason why they work is because they still capture that spirit. And it while it might be something completely different, it's still kind of keeping that tribute almost to it. Like, why the second Godzilla work is because it has that spirit of the big kaiju movies compared to the first one, which had nothing. It had Godzilla in it, but it was just a disaster movie.
Really,
and
it had a falsely advertised Bryan Cranston.
It did. It did.
I thought they should have utilized him more. I was really excited because, like, I remember my mom isn't crazy on big kind of blockbuster movies, but she loves monster movies. So when I got a copy of Godzilla, I'm like, "Oh, this is going to be great." She's like, "No, this is a remake. This is a big like Hollywood blockbuster remake. This is going to be like lots of guns and action, and it's going to be all style, no substance. This isn't the kind of Godzilla I want to see." And I'm like, no, it's got Bryan Cranston in it. It's going to be fine. And then we watched it, and then I had to apologize to her.
I remember, because I went to see it in the cinema with some friends, and I was sitting there watching the movie, and I was like, it's building up, Bryan Cranston's going to do something. And then, the whole spoiler alert, he falls off the bridge and dies within the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, he's coming back, right? Like, this isn't... he's not dead. Like, he's coming back.
No,
he never...
and he doesn't.
No, what I will say is that annoyed more people than I think the 1999 Godzilla did, because at least that delivered... It never hyped itself up to be anything but what it was.
Yeah.
And at least it failed, but it failed on its own merits. And it had a really good soundtrack, so that's okay.
I was just about to say the soundtrack with
Sorry, you go first, Lisa. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just about to say at the exact same time as Dara, I was going to say the 90s Godzilla had such a good soundtrack with P. Diddy and Jamiroquai.
So good.
Oh, Jamiroquai, yeah.
So good. So good.
Just
when
really
you think of
iconic.
Godzilla, you think of Jamiroquai.
Well, when you think of 1999 Godzilla, I definitely do. Roland Emmerich gets a bad rep. I'm just going to say it.
He does deserve it.
Sometimes, but sometimes he doesn't. It's like, what's your man who did Batman and Robin?
Joel Schumacher.
Joel Schumacher did Phantom of the Opera.
We're bringing this back to Phantom, aren't we?
He did Phantom of the Opera, and I would say, you know what, Joel, he did Phone Booth, which is great, and he did Phantom of the Opera.
Phone Booth's one of my favourite films.
Fantastic.
So it's
He did Phone Booth?
He did Phone Booth, yeah, and Phone Booth's unreal.
I've seen Phone Booth, and I did not know that was him.
Yeah, he was in it.
And Pathfinders as well, the original, that was him. Like, to be fair, I've read up on him recently, and apparently he wanted to do like a really dark Batman movie, and like the studio were pushing him not to do it. Don't get me wrong, there's still very much Joel Schumacher movies, but I'm starting to be a bit more forgiving the more I realise that he was put in to essentially
a no-win situation. Yeah,
colourful and bright as possible.
Exactly.
So I'm a little bit more forgiving of him now than I was a few years ago. Like,
look, and Batman Forever is one of my favourite Batman movies. I think it's great at that balance. So it's great. It has that weird dynamic.
Did he do Batman and Robin?
He did Batman Forever and Batman for Robin, yeah.
I thank my lucky stars.
Robin.
I thank my lucky stars every day for bat nipples.
To be fair, on that point, I would say, if I was George Clooney, I would have been like, listen, can we not have the bat nipples?
No, you gotta have the bat nipples. The bat nipples make it.
The bat credit card makes it.
Oh, the bat credit card, yeah.
Oh, I was hoping you'd bring it up here. I wonder though, because like Ben Affleck put up with a lot of nonsense in his Batman turns. I wonder if an actress cast as Batman, are they like in the mindset of, well, I want to keep being Batman. Should I say something? Like that kind of thing?
It's topical.
I feel like Robert Pattinson's going to say something.
Yeah, well, he has.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson has. Apparently, he's refusing to work out for the role. He's like, no, I'm just going to stay the same. And I'm like, dude, bro, you have to. Batman, that's all he does.
Batman is rich. He doesn't have any superpowers.
No, let's be fair now. Let's be fair. We knew going into this that Robert Pattinson was not going to commit to that level.
Yeah, like, I would say no.
You know what, though? I think he'd be a good Batman, though, because all Batman really does, other than having, like, a perfectly sculpted body, as shown by the tightness of their suits, which could be actually morphed by the suit, so they could have anything, and it could be holding it in.
And the CrossFit advertisement that was in Batman v Superman.
Yeah, literally.
All Batman needs is a chin and a broody, husky voice. That is all.
The suit does the rest.
The suit does the rest. That's my point. All Robert Pattinson is a husky voice and like a stubbly chin. Is what I actually, believe it or not, when I saw him in Lighthouse in February, the movie with William Dafoe, it literally was like, I was watching it going, he could actually be Batman, because I just found out about it at the same time.
I think he's a good Batman, yeah.
But the whole thing about Batman as well is that he is completely devoid of all emotion and facial expression, and that's Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
It's not Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
See, I would say Michael Keaton is my favourite Batman because there's a bit in Batman and Batman Returns where he's gone along and the Penguins are firing rockets at him, and he looks back and he's like, shit, I could have been killed. And it's really subtle, and you're like, man, this guy's just Batman, and he gets that kind of, that inner conflict really well, But
there's only one Batman, and it's Adam Wee, okay?
Adam Wee.
Oh, yeah.
Adam Wee.
Batman of all time.
Throw that grenade off here and avoid the nuns.
Yes.
But what I will say is,
I'm gonna sit here and stand Kevin Kline. Not Kevin Kline. What?
Kevin Conroy.
What's his name?
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. Not Kevin Kline.
Oh, Kevin Conroy is the OG Batman.
Yeah.
Well,
he's like, you got to measure up. It's the same with Mark Hamill with the Joker. You got to measure every Batman against Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Actually, on some more Batman news, it looks like there's going to be a remake of Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. They're going to reboot that series.
Oh.
So that's what's going to happen. So yeah, we're already in this process of, reimagining and stuff like that. We have to mention this in the last 50 minutes we have. Guys, Disney live action remakes. Where do we stand?
Oh, these are my opinions.
Disney live action remakes. Where do we stand? And Keen is possessed by Pazuzu because he hates it so much.
I'm hitting my head off the thing.
So
you know what? Keen, you go first. I've got too many.
So I bought Disney. I basically bought a subscription to Disney Plus when it was coming out, and you guys know, you heard me harping on about it for ages and ages and ages. And one of the things that I decided I was going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to watch, all the remakes, or at least as many of them as I can. And so far, out of all of them, I have found 2 that were bearable.
Bearable.
Can I guess? Can I guess them? Let me guess. Cinderella?
No.
Okay.
Ooh.
Jungle Book?
Oh, actually, okay, 3. Jungle Book, yeah.
Okay, well, what are the ones that are bearable?
So the New Lady and the Tramp.
Okay. Didn't know that was a remake.
Really?
That's
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it went straight to Disney Plus, and that's only because with Lady and the Tramp there was so little story to begin with that it was hard to get it wrong.
Also, it's doggos, like.
And
Yeah,
it's doggos, and also they have is it Sam Elliott as Trusty, which is just perfect casting.
I can see that
Just
working.
absolutely perfect casting. The only issue I had with that was they changed the gender of Jock.
Really?
Oh.
But they put one of my favourite female Scottish actresses as the voice, so I'm kind of letting that slide.
Fair.
Who?
You know,
I just set us up like that.
well, I can't remember her name, but she was in Extras.
Okay.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's the...
So she's in it, which is like, and that movie is just, it's cute, it's to the point, you know, it doesn't stray from the original, which is great. And it gets the job done, and the dogs are adorable. The other one I found manageable was Aladdin, and that's only because Will Smith absolutely killed it as the genie.
I'm gonna say Kev has thoughts on Aladdin, just based on the amount of times it's come up while we've worked together in the shop.
God, like, because I went into Aladdin expecting an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, me too. No,
Yeah,
me too.
I think.
I came away surprised at how much I enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
that's with an asterisk.
No, completely.
But going in with that level of like low bar expectation,
Yeah.
you know, that in and of itself kind of shows you how poor it was. You know.
Well, see, here's the thing as well, right? Will Smith is a fantastic actor, but nobody wanted him to play the genie. Everybody was against it. And he knew that going into it, that everybody was against it, because like even when they released kind of teasers and stuff, it was just getting horrible feedback.
Oh,
And
that first trailer drop, yeah.
He sold it. Like that scene where he does "You've Never Had a Friend Like Me." I could watch that on a loop. I don't need to see the rest of the movie.
I just, like, I liked him when he was being Will Smith.
Yeah.
There's like bits where he's kind of like rapping, he's kind of vamping, and when he's being Will Smith, absolutely, I can get on board with this. And he's kind of wingman in Aladdin. That was cool. But after about 5 minutes, he'd have to go into a Robin Williams bit because that was mandated, and then that just dropped me.
Well, see, yeah,
he isn't Robin Williams.
Well, this is it, because Robin Williams was such an iconic.
Like, that was all him. Like, that's because that's all pretty much improv in that original movie.
Yeah, and it was
like that. It's all Robin Williams. So like you can't separate that.
Exactly, but it was so iconic that everybody went, he's never going to live up to that.
Yeah, so I think like even trying to emulate it was a failure. I think that they needed to let Will Smith be his own genie.
Yeah,
but they just couldn't.
Because when he was his own genie, he excelled.
But most of what chimes in there, I agree with Katie. Aladdin is a good attempt, but not as whimsical as the original. I think that's a fair summation of the movie.
One of the things that I thought kind of, and this is coming from me, like I'm an uber feminist, but one of the things that I thought actually brought it down a notch was when they tried to do the whole uber feminism thing with Jasmine.
It really felt shoehorned.
It felt like lip service at that point. It was like, we're putting this in here because we have to.
Well, I can I don't like it, but I can see where Disney's coming from because their brand is built on princesses. And princesses, by virtue of being princesses, it's kind of hard to kind of... I still think it should have just left well enough alone, though.
Yeah,
Jasmine was a great character to begin with.
Well,
they've been doing this for a while with Disney movies. Like with Frozen, you know, they had the whole sister power.
Yeah.
With Maleficent, it was true love's kiss. It turned out to be like, again, girl power. And so they've been pushing this for a while.
Well, here's the thing, Katie. On that point, right? I liked Frozen. I loved Maleficent 2. The movie that nothing happened, but I had a great time. Literally, it's the most pointless movie ever made. Like, literally, nothing happens. No, like, it's great, though. I loved it.
This is the 7th time you brought up Maleficent.
Maleficent is amazing.
On the DVD.
It's such a good movie.
Like
right?
Father Jack with a thumbs up.
It's such a good movie, right?
I liked it, so I'm in it.
Here's the thing, right? What really bugged me, and the movie that I just can't cope with, right? It just broke me on this whole thing. Beauty and the Beast. and you're one from...
Do you hear that silence?
Emma Watson?
Yeah, that one. The hot one from Harry Potter.
You mispronounced Draco Malfoy.
Be careful, she was a child when that started.
No, yeah, but that's why you don't watch those movies. Oh, you know, you watch them as from the 5th one or whatever. Anyway.
Whoa! From the 8th.
Skipping
From the 8th one.
you heretic.
8th one. Sorry, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know the series. I just know the one that I like. The one that has the cool animation. That's the one I like. So.
That's the 7th one.
Yeah, there we go.
One,
There we go. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. This is why.
7th one, part 1.
See, this is what happens when you do show Harry Potter people. I don't know, guys, okay? I watched them once and that was about it. and they only became bearable near the end when, you know, your woman
Emma Watson became of
age.
Right, so, what I will say is, the woman can't sing. She cannot sing to save her life, right?
And, terrible auto-tune.
She can barely act. And it's just like, what is going on here? This is so... And then they shoehorn the feminism thing. I'm like, listen, why is this happening? What is going on? You're hot, but you're not that hot, and I'm upset now. So I'm like, why is this here?
I'm crying.
I'm all for putting feminist messages into things. Like, the more the merrier, but time and place.
I suppose.
to be honest, Alan, just to finish.
You out of that hole, Dara. It's like, how do you take Beauty and the Beast and make it modern without? Because, like, we have nostalgia for Disney properties.
Yeah, well,
if you present it in live action, you're very aware of the fact that it's like the love interest locks her in a castle.
Well, I just want to finish. I just want to finish the thought on that, right? I think Beauty and the Beast.
Alright, your funeral.
I just want to. I think Beauty and the Beast has a very strong feminist message to it anyway, and it has a very empowering message anyway. Because think about it, right? It isn't your stereotypical thing. She doesn't change for him. He changes for her. And she's you know, everything about it is, you know, on her terms. Like, yeah, she's locked in a castle, but, you know, it is what it is. He's a beast, right? Yeah. He's literally.
You're enabling him, Dara. You're enabling his masculine behavior.
He's a beast. Like, he's not a good guy, and he's shown that he's a bit of a doucher. So he actually comes around it, and he becomes a pretty okay dude. So I think it was a fine message as it was, you know?
Yeah.
But the difference was your one could sing, and your one could act as a drawing. And Harry Potter lady can do neither of those things in real life. So I'm like, what's going on? Why is this existing?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dara, you've got a really good point there. I think what Disney doesn't get is that it feels the need to apologize for certain things about its films, but women and girls already quite like the female characters there. They like Belle, they like Ariel, they like Jasmine, and when you add in these things on top of it, it feels like they're ashamed of the things that we grew up with, and that immediately is disconnect. Like, am I wrong here? Is anyone else kind of?
It feels like they're outwardly being like, look, we're telling you that we're
fixing
feminists.
it. Yeah, we're fixing it now. We're fixing it.
We like it already. Don't fix it.
Actually, writing inspiring messaging into the actual piece.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say something very controversial.
Oh,
on this show.
Disagree with me if they want. I feel like at this point with Disney, because they've got the huge budgets and the technology and all of this kind of stuff, it's gotten to the point where they're saying, who can we get?
Yeah. Okay,
so with the Lion, the new Lion King, and everybody knows how I feel about the new Lion King, but
say it again anyway.
They had an all-star cast. They had the biggest names that they can get right now, and every single one of them phoned it in.
Yeah, that's true. I would agree.
And on the production side too, it's the least Jon Favreau film I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he was doing so well.
I'm just going to put a pin in it there. Guys, if you're listening to this on Phoenix FM, we're going to take a break. If you're not, we're just going to keep continuing. So we'll talk to you next week here on Phoenix FM. Check out the Wrestling Rewind here on Phoenix 92.5 FM every Tuesday at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And of course, over on nerdtoknowmedia.com, the only wrestling podcast by wrestling fans who don't hate wrestling. We'll see you then. And we continue on. Some backstage stuff there for anyone watching the stream. Yeah, look, I would agree. It's kind of a case where Jon Favreau has always have innovative takes on properties. And this was the first time, really, I think, because these Disney remakes are so walled in and are so by the books to appeal to as many demographics as they can, it doesn't give you room to play. It doesn't give you that room to kind of carry it. So you're left
particularly with, like, one of their biggest IPs.
Well, look,
like,
what I mean is, right, like, you know, let's take Iron Man, for example. Jon Favreau took that in a completely different direction. And by doing so, reinvented the character, literally made the biggest movies probably of all time as a result. And when you're watching The Lion King, it's like, I want to watch the animated one because it's better. It's better, you know, and it's like, it's not because we grew up with it, it's because there's nothing, and don't get me wrong, I actually kind of enjoyed the live action remake, but I was like, one, it's not live action because they're not real fucking...
they're not real lions.
They're not real lions, yeah. It's
CG.
like CG, so what, is a CG remake? It's like, you just took one art form and replaced it with another, so this seems pointless.
Which could be interesting.
Live action.
It didn't stray out of the blocks of what was already there anyway.
Yeah,
but
that's
I mean,
it, you know?
even with the new Lady and the Tramp, some of it's CG, like obviously when the lips are moving and stuff, but a lot of it is dogs, like it's actual dogs.
Right.
Which, so you can say it's live action.
Yeah, and look, you
but
know, that's fair enough. That's fair enough, you know, and it's kind of, there was a good quote there from people who were criticising George Lucas, saying, you know, if special effects are great, but it needs to service the story. And I would say, you know, remakes are great when it serves the story, when there's a point to it. And, you know, Lisa brought up a few from Japan that obviously would necessitate in remake to reach a wider audience. Because some people, my parents, for example, will not watch anime. No matter what happens. They will not do it. They also won't watch Japanese movies, no matter what happens. So, you know, that's to reach an audience like that, where it's kind of like, they just won't do it, you know, and I want to watch it with Western actors, which is fair enough, you know. And that kind of makes sense. But just to remake something that was already an established huge IP, just to remake it, it seems really lazy. Yeah, it seems really lazy.
That
unless
feels
there's a reason.
what's happening now, like with everything across the board. Because nothing is like... And it's the same across all mediums. It's like, is anybody kind of making or creating any original stories that haven't been remade? Like, that's what's kind of happening with the cinemas and with Netflix. Everything's kind of being remade. And everything's kind of a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy.
And that extends to the creative team on these films as well. Like, in these remakes we're complaining about, you have the likes of Kenneth Branagh, Tim Burton, Guy Ritchie, Jon Favreau twice. And I would honestly like to do an experiment to show them to a neutral audience and say, who do you think directed that? And I have a feeling, maybe apart from a Tim Burton Dumbo, you couldn't really guess. And that's a real shame.
You just hurt me with Dumbo, man. You just hurt me so
Well, with Kenneth Branagh you could, because of the Dutch angles. He loves them. It's just,
that's a good point. Yeah, well, I think like Cinderella feels like a real road test of the remake though.
Cinderella wasn't bad, you know, and your one could at least act and sing, so it was all good. But what I will say is, you know, there was, for example, going back to 1994 when they really kind of started this with the video game live actions. The Street Fighter one has, you know, it just was pumped out by committee. But the anime Street Fighter 2, it feels a lot more like it. So that's still possible to get your adaptation once it follows, once it has passion, has a story to tell. And I think the Disney live action remakes aren't there yet. But Maleficent, for example, Maleficent 2, while it has no story and has no reason for existing, it's brilliant because it doesn't try to be anything that it isn't. It knows what it is, and I loved it. And go see it.
Can I stand up for one Disney remake?
No, I know you. Go on. Go on.
Christopher Robin. I know it's not a
that was
remake.
good. That was good. That
felt like a movie. By aging up that character, it felt like it was saying something about Winnie the Pooh and that it loved it. And I've watched it a few times and I enjoyed it every single time.
But see, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's that kind of, it's telling its own story, and it's not just, it's not like they made a CGI Winnie the Pooh just to have something on Disney Plus.
In fact, I love the fact they look like teddy bears. I think actually, Kev, you put me onto that, which is like all of the Winnie the Pooh characters look like children's teddy bears with the eyes and everything.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
The only thing about it that I would say is like a tick against it is Winnie the Pooh's unblinking eyes. Because all the other characters blink, but
He
Willie
know-
doesn't.
He
And
knows
he's-
all
Woody's
your
always watching
secrets.
Yeah, he's just got these dead little beady eyes.
He's a teddy bear.
Yeah, he's
If
adorable.
my teddy bear started blinking, I'd freak out.
But all the other, I mean, Eeyore and Tigger and Piglet, they all blink.
Well, here's the thing, Keen. If the teddy bear blinked and it had like human eyelids, I'd freak out. But if it had like teddy bear eyelids, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Sonic, like the original Sonic.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, well, look.
Teddy bear grew teeth.
Human teeth.
Well, look. I would say, look, and we're never going to reach consensus with everybody because I think everyone has their own kind of things. I'm still shocked that someone defended the Death Note remake, so that's incredible.
Well, the Death Note remake is a remake as well because there was the original Japanese movies of Death Note that were made years ago,
true.
featuring the Shuya from Battle Royale.
That's true.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
But
So,
I would
remake within a remake.
I would say context is king, and once it has a good story to tell or does something unique, I'm not too opposed to it. But have you got any ones that we missed, guys, based on either one of your lists, or have you got anything to round it up?
Listen, like the one I cannot wait for is going to be the Hercules one, which they've announced. But like it's just been greenlit, and I think it's the Russos are producers, but that's literally all.
I don't know.
I cannot
Best
wait.
lasso,
At
Hurricanes
best,
on a roll.
I'm hoping this is a train wreck.
Look, the actual animated movie, I love it, and I love the TV show. I absolutely adore.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's a bad movie. Critically,
Yeah, it's a bad movie.
Poor movie.
But I love it, and
It's amazing.
But it's like it's a bad movie, so I am just thinking they're probably going to have to rejig that a lot to make that work. 'Cause that movie does not work.
There's so many just incohesive parts to that movie. That how are they going to like make this in any modern film? I have no idea.
I just don't know.
I'm worried about how they're going to cast this film. No matter who it is, I'm worried about
It has
weird
to be Danny
actor
DeVito.
top
It has to be Danny
CGI
DeVito.
legs.
It needs to be Danny DeVito. Doesn't matter. Like if they get anyone else, it's just
I'm like,
a travesty.
Man, a
Well, they said that about
photorealistic
Detective
Danny
Pikachu.
DeVito stayed here.
They said that about Will Smith.
But look, it would have worked with Detective Pikachu, but Ryan Reynolds made it like a Deadpool
Yeah.
Pikachu.
Yeah.
Fine,
Yeah.
fine.
Peekapoo.
Peekapoo, exactly. Guys, Katie and Lisa, have you got any others on your list that you wanted to touch on before we wrap it up?
Not remakes. None of, there's too many. Like, there's so much stuff.
Do it
Pick
quick.
your
I don't know.
favorite.
Pick your favorite. Go for it.
My favorite what though? The favorite thing to hate or the favorite thing that's been done so well?
Everybody likes negativity. Give us your top 8.
I think the Hobbit movies were appalling.
Oh
Yes.
Lord. Oh Lord. Oh, how do we forget?
I
Terrible.
think they were appalling. I
Terrible
think Harry
movie.
Potter films 3 to 8 were appalling.
3 to 8. Oh,
3 to 8.
we're going to have fights.
1 and 2 were great. They got it exactly right, but from
But the acting
8
was terrible in the first one.
I know you can. That's because they're
Voldemort
children,
tried
and
to
you can
kill-
see them acting. But I'm a what?
I'm a what?
Like, but the thing is, like, with regards to how close they were to the books and the tone, and they had the same director for the first 2 movies, so they had a sense of cohesion. Whereas they changed director for literally every movie after that. They even changed Dumbledore's. So
Well, they
it
had
just
to
kind
change
of-
Dumbledore.
I know,
Well,
but I'm
dead.
just
If they did.
He's
saying.
dead. The wizard
Harry,
did it.
did you put your name in the goblet of fire? He asked calmly.
We've said this before. He's 86 years old and he's dead.
The kids want to see the original Dumbledore.
To any means, like cadaver
Yeah,
can.
bring his corpse in, put him in a robe. Is that what you want?
That's pretty much Dumbledore, let's face it. No, everything from 3 to 8 was just appalling.
I would agree
So
6
bad.
to 8, but I honestly wish they'd kept drafting in a new director because I feel like when I like David, what's his name, the director of the later ones? David Mayer?
Oh god.
Someone in the chat tell me. But I liked his take on the Order of the Phoenix and I liked his take on the First Fantastic Beasts. But it's a shame that I didn't want that to be like the consistent tone for all of them.
I think Fantastic Beasts are awful, by the way. I won't even
Oh, yeah, they're terrible.
I watched the first one, and that was enough for me. I won't even acknowledge
I've seen them both, and they're
not even acknowledging them.
Crimes of
Grindelwald can die in a fire. Can I just say, Crimes of Grindelwald was Stevie's first Harry Potter thing ever.
Oh no, that's a poor choice.
Hold on. I'm the chat. David Yates was the director. Thanks, Monk.
Thank you, David Yates. Thank you.
And she agrees that Chamber of Secrets is our favourite Harry Potter movie.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Crimes of Grindelwald, didn't hate it, had no attachment, I had a good time.
You did?
Because you're not emotionally invested.
No. I laughed my ass off. It was hilarious.
It's been terribly plotted, a contradictory backstory.
No, for me, Crimes of Grindelwald was... None of the characters were fleshed out enough for me to feel a connection to them, and so when stuff started happening to them, I honestly didn't care.
See, the thing about it is...
The A-plot was a love triangle where none of them actually cared about what the love triangle was.
The reason
Neither did we.
The reason why
the B-plot was the name of the movie.
The reason why I had more kind of like enjoyment with the spin-offs is because Harry wasn't there, and anything with Harry's not in it.
Oh, Danny Rand!
It's the Harry from the Harry Potter series.
I'm just like, oh god, I just kind of enjoy it. It's why I like the play that was a book for some reason.
The Cursed Child.
Yeah,
cool.
I like that. That was fun.
It's great.
I really enjoyed it.
Silly, but it's really enjoyable.
Sorry, but
that should have been a movie. Sorry, go on.
Daniel Radcliffe is my happy place. Like, him as a person. Like, forget about being an actor. As a person, he is just so lovable and so endearing. I mean, they did photo shoots when they finished Harry Potter, they did photo shoots with the three main, and you've got Emma Watson in her dress, and she's flowy and elegant, and you've got Rupert Grint playing his guitar, and then you've got Daniel Radcliffe in a bathrobe holding a tree that's on fire.
I'm thinking he just came from Swiss Army Man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Daniel Radcliffe can do no wrong.
My favorite was always the story of like when they cast the three of them first back when they were children.
And he's in the tub.
And they all had to like
Professor McGonagall.
They all had to like write briefs on what they thought their characters were.
Oh, yes.
And apparently Emma Watson did write like a 3-page brief on it.
She wrote
Harry
more.
kind of more, yeah.
Emma Watson
Harry kind of
wrote more.
half-assed it. And Rupert Grint just forgot it.
Yeah, no, that was the director asked them that for the third movie, and he was like, "Okay, explore your character, guys." And it's like they actually did inadvertently.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. And then Tom Felton just awkwardly hugged Lisa, and she got her finger caught in her dad in the dad's hair.
I squeezed his stomach muscle. It squeezed me back.
I'm gonna be controversial again, and I'm gonna say the movies 7 and 8 were better than the book.
I don't remember the book well enough to judge.
After I read the second book, I threw it behind a radiator and picked up Lord of the Rings, so that's where it stopped for me. No, that's not a joke. That's what happened. That's what happened. Well, I was in school and I was a child, so go back and tell, because he had the books on a little trolley, and they're like, "Oh, read Harry Potter," and then I was like, "Oh, Lord of the Rings, let's read this." So, yeah, Fire Hazard behind a radiator. It's probably still there because they don't move anything in those schools, but that's where I fell off the Harry Potter bandwagon. Okay.
I'm still going to stand up for Fantastic Beasts 1, though. I liked it as like a slice of life film that didn't have to be a bloody year long, like all the other Harry Potter films. I was just really disappointed when all that lore stuff creeped back in the second one.
See, I like the lore. The lore for me is like what it's all about. And can I say, it's not that I don't like Harry Potter, I just don't like Harry Potter. I like the world. I think the world's great and the lore's cool.
From the Harry Potter is where you have the issue.
Yeah, literally.
Harry Potter.
All I will say about Fantastic Beasts is that the beasts weren't even secondary. They were like way down the line.
They were somewhere over.
We could have got Quidditch through the ages. Which I would have enjoyed, honestly.
There's very few beasts in this Beast movie.
And the beasts are the selling
That's not the Beast from Fantastic Beasts. That's not the Kane from Citizen Kane.
There was no Kane in Citizen Kane.
Actually, what I do want to round this off by saying some good adaptations, which are really good, like some to be positive. Anything Neil Gaiman. So
Coraline is
yeah.
one of the best adaptations.
Coraline
did you
is
hear
phenomenal.
the cast announcement today that went
Yes,
out?
I did.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
They're doing an audio play, I think, version of Sandman.
Yeah.
Do you have the cast list in front of you? I do my phone over there.
I don't have it. I don't have it in front of me, but it is like a who's who of who you want. It's like I literally couldn't have picked this better myself. Out of a dream category, he managed to get everyone who you'd want. So when Keen comes back, he will list it out. He's frozen in time, though.
Okay, here we are.
Here we go.
Okay, so it's James McAvoy as Morpheus. Is surprised he was also the main character in the audio version of Neverwhere. There is Michael Sheen as Lucifer.
Ooh.
Andy Serkis as the Raven.
Oh yeah.
Bebe Neuwirth, Lilith from Frasier as the Siamese cat. Taron Egerton from those Kingsman films as Constantine.
And the Dark Crystal.
Yeah. So Kat Dennings from kind of Two Broke Girl Thor and all that as Death.
Mm.
Riz Ahmed, the bad guy in Venom, Rogue One, all that kind of stuff as the Corinthian. And there's loads of other known names in the supporting cast, like Reginald D. Hunter's in there, Arthur Darvill from Doctor Who is William Shakespeare. Let's see, Joanna Lumley's in there. It's just find the image, and Neil Gaiman is narrating it, so
it's excellent.
Fantastic.
And I can't remember what she's in at the moment, but Samantha Morton is Urine Blackwell. So it's a top-notch cast from top to bottom.
And I'd say if anyone's upset about their adaptations, if you go for a Neil Gaiman property, you're probably going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's
if you're looking for something in the meantime, there's loads of really good audio plays. There's other books. Neverwhere has James McAvoy, Sophie, really more really remember any of his ones on audio forms are usually class. And Good Omens as well on Amazon Prime, obviously.
Good Omens.
God, yeah, I kind of forget about that.
Yeah, Good Omens. Good Omens was a revelation for me, so really enjoyed it. Yeah, that's a good
American Gods.
American Gods is very good too.
I've got
Stardust. Anyone else for Stardust?
Actually,
Stardust. Yes.
Actually, can I just say one thing as well? Where the whole process of sometimes the adaptation being better or worse depending on where you go. Philip K. Dick books. That's a crapshoot in and of itself. Sometimes you get Blade Runner. Sometimes you get Paycheck. It is what it is. But yeah. So it is what it is.
On that, The Man in the High Castle on Amazon Prime is pretty good too.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't watch 4 seasons of it, but it's good.
No, I definitely would not. But I think this is a topic
Wolfenstein.
which is phenomenal. What I would say, maybe we can return to this. Guys, if you like this and you want to get involved, nerdtoknowmedia@gmail.com, or leave comments let us know if you want to do Simpsons or this next week. So we can do more, or we can tag on and do more of these adaptation shows. But we have gone about an hour and change, so we'll call it there, guys. Before we go, we actually have stuff to plug. So let's go with Katie. You first.
So I have a new show coming out this week. It's called Doing It for the Exposure. And it's all about highlighting, struggling, hardworking artists who have been affected by the lockdown recently, but also just spend most of their time trying to get their names out there.
Very cool. And that's going to drop on Thursday.
Tomorrow at lunchtime.
It's going to drop on Thursday. So go over to our feed and you'll be able to find it there. Keen, what would you like to plug, sir?
Yeah, the next episode of The Game is dropping this Friday. It will have secondary school kids, Usheen and Phenom Power on it, talking about board games, and my good friend and cosplayer Usheen Wallace talking about what kind of games you can play on the internet, on Zoom and all that kind of stuff. That'll be dropping this Friday, and we might even have a special extra episode dropping next week. So keep messaging and commenting if you want to pop on the show, and thanks very much for the response so far.
Very cool. Lisa?
Yeah, so episode 9 of Straight Outta Canto, your number one spot for nerd culture, nightmares, nostalgia, and more, is live. Well, not live. It's up on the Nerd to Know Media page on YouTube, not YouTube, on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, and episode 10 will be out in 2 weeks if you are interested, and it's going to be a Junji Ito special, so if you have anything about Junji Ito you would like to get on board with, let me know. It's going to be an hour dedicated to him. But episode 9 is out now.
That's going to be good.
About horror and Pokemon.
I'm already in.
That's going to be good.
Great, come on.
Kev, anything like to plug, sir?
Not yet. However, keep your eyes peeled on the horizon. Start of June, there may be something dropping on the channel.
Very cool. And yeah, guys, this has grown a lot. So the best way to keep up to date is by following us on social media, or Nerd to Know Media, YouTube, Nerd to Know Media on Twitch, and of course nerdtoknowmedia.com, where everything drops there first. So we'll be back same time next week, guys. See you later.
Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.